The 1970s were a wild time for food, and while some dishes became legends, many incredible recipes have faded into history. But today, we're bringing them back. These are the recipes from the 70s that you need to eat in your lifetime. From casseroles that stretched a dollar to party foods that defined an era, these dishes capture a moment in American food history worth revisiting. So put on your favorite disco track, and let's dive into the most memorable foods of the 1970s. Swedish meatballs. In the 1970s, no cocktail party was complete without a slow cooker full of Swedish meatballs. These bite-sized delights were the star of any gathering. Tender, savory meatballs swimming in a rich, creamy sauce that had everyone coming back for seconds. While their popularity in America soared during the 70s, Swedish meatballs have a history dating back centuries in Scandinavian cuisine. What made them perfect for 70s entertaining was their make-ahead convenience and crowd-pleasing flavor. The secret to authentic Swedish meatballs wasn't just in the meat mixture, typically a blend of beef and pork, but in the distinctive sauce. Unlike Italian-style meatballs in tomato sauce, Swedish meatballs featured a gravy made with beef broth, a touch of sour cream, and the magical ingredient that made them distinctly Scandinavian, a hint of nutmeg and sometimes allspice. Today, these meatballs remain a comfort food classic, though many modern versions lighten up the sauce or offer plant-based alternatives. Quiche Lorraine. When Americans in the 1970s wanted to feel sophisticated, they turned to quiche Lorraine. This French-inspired dish became the centerpiece of countless brunches and ladies' luncheons across the country. With its buttery pastry crust filled with a silky mixture of eggs, cream, bacon, and Swiss cheese, it represented everything that was fashionable about French cuisine. Quiche Lorraine wasn't actually new to the 70s. It had been around for centuries in the Lorraine region of France, but it wasn't until Julia Child introduced French cooking to American homes that quiche became a household name. What made it perfect for the era was its versatility. You could serve it hot or at room temperature, making it ideal for entertaining. It could be prepared ahead of time and reheated, and it worked equally well as breakfast, lunch, or a light dinner. By the end of the decade, quiche had become so popular that it inspired the 1982 bestseller, Real Men Don't Eat Quiche, poking fun at how the dish had become associated with women's luncheons and sophistication.
French onion dip with potato chips. Some food combinations become so ingrained in our culinary landscape that we forget they had a starting point. French onion dip with ridged potato chips is one such pairing, a party staple that defined casual entertaining in the 1970s. The dip itself had humble beginnings. In the early 1950s, an unknown cook supposedly mixed Lipton's French onion soup mix with sour cream, creating an instant hit. By the 1970s, this simple combination had become the unofficial dip of America. What made onion dip perfect for the 70s was its accessibility and crowd-pleasing flavor. Anyone could make it, just two ingredients stirred together, yet it tasted like so much more than the sum of its parts. The tangy sour cream base with the savory, slightly sweet onion flavor created an addictive combination that paired perfectly with the salty crunch of ridged potato chips. The 70s version was almost always made with packaged soup mix, though some ambitious cooks created from scratch versions. It was typically served in a bowl nestled in the center of a larger platter, surrounded by concentrically arranged potato chips. Chicken à la king. Chicken à la king might sound fancy with its French-inspired name, but in the 1970s it was the ultimate in practical comfort food. This creamy dish featuring diced chicken, mushrooms and peppers in a rich sauce became a weeknight dinner staple and a favorite way to use up leftover roast chicken. While the dish's origins date back to the late 19th or early 20th century, it reached its height of popularity in American home kitchens during the 1970s. The typical 70s version featured chicken in a creamy white sauce, with mushrooms and pimientos or bell peppers for color and flavor. It was often served over toast points, biscuits, or puff pastry shells, the latter being particularly popular for fancy occasions. What made chicken à la king perfect for the era was its adaptability and practicality. Home cooks could use fresh or canned mushrooms, depending on what was available, and the sauce could be made from scratch or simplified with cream of chicken soup. Chicken and dumplings. In a decade that embraced both international cuisine and comfort food classics, Chicken and dumplings represented the best of traditional American cooking. This hearty, soul-warming dish featuring tender chicken in a rich broth topped with fluffy dumplings had been a staple in American kitchens for generations, but it found renewed popularity during the 1970s as part of a broader interest in home-style cooking. Chicken and dumplings had its roots in Southern cuisine and Depression-era frugality, when it provided a way to stretch a small amount of chicken to feed a family. By the 1970s, it had transcended its humble origins to become a beloved comfort food across America. The classic preparation involved simmering a whole chicken to create both tender meat and a flavorful broth, then dropping spoonfuls of biscuit-like dough on top to steam and create the eponymous dumplings. What made chicken and dumplings perfect for the 70s was its alignment with the decade's dual interests in both convenience and from-scratch cooking. Regional variations abounded. Southern versions often featured rolled flat dumplings, while northern recipes typically used dropped biscuit-style dumplings. Waldorf salad. The 1970s saw a revival of many classic American recipes, and few made a stronger comeback than Waldorf salad. This refreshing combination of apples, celery, walnuts, and grapes bound with mayonnaise became a fixture at luncheons, potlucks, and holiday tables throughout the decade. Originally created in the 1890s at New York's Waldorf Astoria Hotel, this salad had evolved over the decades before finding its quintessential form in the 1970s. The classic 70s version featured crisp, tart apples and celery for crunch, walnuts for richness, and red grapes for sweetness, all coated in mayonnaise that had often been lightened with a touch of whipped cream or sour cream. What made Waldorf salad perfect for the 70s was its combination of freshness and familiarity. It was substantive enough to serve as a main course for ladies' luncheons, yet flexible enough to appear as a side dish at dinner. It struck the perfect balance between healthy ingredients and indulgent dressing, a characteristic of many popular 70s recipes. The salad was typically served chilled, making it ideal for preparation in advance, another bonus for busy hosts.
Impossible pie. If there was one dessert that captured the 70s fascination with convenience and seemingly magical results, it was impossible pie. This curious creation got its name because it was impossibly easy. You simply mixed all ingredients together, poured them into a pie plate, and during baking, the mixture separated into distinct layers: a crust, a custard filling, and a coconut topping. No rolling out dough, no fussing with multiple components, just one simple batter that transformed itself in the oven. The recipe first appeared on the back of Bisquick boxes in the mid-1970s, though similar self-layering desserts had existed previously. What made it perfect for busy home cooks was the minimal effort required for what looked like a complex result. The basic version needed just Bisquick, eggs, sugar, milk, butter, vanilla, and shredded coconut. When baked, the Bisquick settled to form a crust. The egg and milk created a custard middle, and the coconut rose to the top and toasted. Variations quickly proliferated. There was impossible pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving, impossible lemon pie for summer gatherings, and even savory versions like impossible cheeseburger pie for weeknight dinners. The 1970s gave us so much more than disco and bell-bottoms. It delivered a treasure trove of recipes that deserve to be remembered and revived. From elegant dinner party centerpieces to weeknight family favorites, these 25 dishes capture the spirit of an era when convenience and comfort shared the table with culinary adventure. This was a decade when home cooks embraced both convenience foods and ambitiously fancy recipes, often in the same meal. Entertaining was a priority, not an afterthought, with dishes designed specifically to bring people together around the table. The next time you're planning a meal, consider bringing one of these 70s gems back to the table. You might be surprised at how well they've aged. If you enjoyed this culinary trip through the 1970s, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more food history and vintage recipes. Let us know in the comments which of these dishes brings back memories for you.